Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
It is the final episode before the trade deadline on Tuesday. We've got 3 days worth of trades to cover already. I feel like that trade nut has been drained for the most part. There's not a ton of nut left as far as the trade deadline goes. We've got Justin Verlander that's still out there. I know that image, I probably just brought back a fappening image for you that you thought you forgot, but realized that it's still in the back of your brain somewhere. And then you have some maybes. There's some maybe guys out there, and then there's some surprise names that are still floating around out there. But before we do all that, there was I guess you could call it a big trade. It's more like the Max Scherzer trade to me. The discussion is way more interesting about what the fuck do you do now if you're the Mets than it is for the Rangers are really going for it.
Well, like, what they do with Verlander. I'm not going to sit
here and say that you can't say that the Rangers aren't going for it because they also go out and they get a Jordan Montgomery, but the Mets side of the discussion now is far more fascinating than the Texas Rangers side.
I don't know that it's that much more fascinating. All you got to do is wait to see what they do with Verlander. I think it's that simple. It's really that simple. I think that right there is going to be extremely telling. If they decide to move that dude, well, then I pretty much get it. If they don't move that dude, then like Jay and I were talking about last time, you want to be good in the future. That's the goal. So if it's short term to move some pieces now and kind of position yourself to make a move next year, okay. But if they move Verlander, then I don't think there's a discussion to be had.
Well, he basically already told you he wants to get moved.
Oh, sure. But I mean, that happens or not, that's one thing. But I think, it's interesting to see, are they even going to get to that point? I mean, the fact that we're here, right? Half of the two aces gone.
Shohei.
The interesting part for the Mets, beyond the 2024 implications, are that I think we saw, this is not unprecedented, but the amount of money and financial might that Steve Cohen put behind this deal so that they could acquire the caliber of prospect that they did in the Scherzer trade from Texas, who's everybody knows by now is Ronald Acuna Jr.'s brother. That to me is the fascinating part, because we were talking on the last pod about what does Steve Cohen's spending or financial kind of, dominance look like moving forward? Does it take the form of Scherzer and Verlander contracts? Well, in this case, they decided to trade Max Scherzer, and instead of getting, a middling prospect or financial savings from that trade, because Scherzer's actual trade value with that contract, I think we saw, is limited if you don't pay it down. They paid it down to the tune of I think, what was it, $35 million is their total amount they're sending out. And whatever portion you want to include of that is basically buying Luis Angel Acuna. That to me is fascinating, because no other team is operating in that space in terms of willingness to put in that amount of money for that to get that caliber of prospect. And that's what we said. Yeah. They want it to be a farm system in New York, much like the Dodgers have created, that goes along with high level spending. And I think this is sort of the first step towards getting there.
This is the Justin Verlander quote that makes you kind of think that I don't want to say he's advocating to get traded, but he's definitely open to the idea.
Like I said, I think it largely depends on how the organization views next year. I mean, I think Max is a tough sign, for trying to go back at it like happened this year. I guess I'm committed to trying to win a championship here. But if the organization decides that that's not exactly the direction that they think is best fit to go for next year and go for it again, then I would be more open to it.
He can't even say committed to a championship for next year without laughing.
Well, no, I mean, but he said exactly what I just said. He said exactly what I just said. It depends on what you think is going to happen next year. What do you want to do? You want to be good next year and you think I'm a part of that? Why wouldn't I be? That's what you signed me up to be a part of. So make your moves around me now. But if that's not the case, then please, I'm on the table. Send me somewhere.
Pete Alonso was not super pumped about the Max Scherzer trade, which kind of makes you wonder, what's going on in that Mets clubhouse right now.
Pete, what's your reaction to the news of the Scherzer trade?
Honestly, shocked.
Shocked.
Yeah, shocked.
When did you find out?
There was a lot of rumblings about it before the game, and it felt kind of real. Obviously it wasn't official, but Max wasn't around the clubhouse, and I didn't really see him around today. So that's when I know it was oh man, this is legit. This isn't just clickbait or anything like that you see. But this, yeah, as soon as I didn't see Max around the clubhouse, I was as soon as I heard him, there's no way. And then I didn't see him. I was kind of looking for him. I'm oh man, this is legit then if I haven't seen him around. So yeah, it's a loss for us for sure. Obviously having a guy who's going to be a Hall of Famer get traded away stinks. He's a good friend of mine. He's a great teammate, and Texas is going to really love having him.
Interesting. Pete Alonso's got a little bit of a golden retriever brain. It feels like he's just over here and he's over there and he's over here. Yeah, he seems like he's just a innocent little puppy dog brain. It's cute. Joe, your thoughts on that?
I don't know. Yeah, it was a crazy trade. It was a crazy, trade a guy like that who's paying him so much money. We'll see who the Mets get. It's not a total L for the Mets. You're disappointed that you got these two pitchers you thought you were going to be the best team in the league. So that's disappointing, obviously, but that's already happened. At least you got, an Acuna and someone else who, I don't know who the other guy is, but if you get an Acuna, that's a good sign.
I go back to the World Baseball Classic when Edwin Diaz goes down, and I tweeted out man, Mets fans are freaking the fuck out right now saying the season's over. And if your season's over because one guy goes down, then you don't have a good team to begin with, and the Mets are still a good team.
Now? Oh, sorry.
This was in March for the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, and now they're kind of in a weird in-between where it's you did go all in for Scherzer and Verlander, but it wasn't you weren't in before them. You still got Lindor and Alonso, and didn't they sign McNeil? You got a lot of these guys signed up. Yeah. Nimmo. So it's not a full rebuild, but if you're trading the two top guys, are you just going to suck now? Then you might have to trade more guys. I don't think the Mets are going to trade all their guys because seems like Cohen wants to compete every year. So they're in a very weird spot. Weird.
It is a weird
I think it could be a point where he decides, if Verlander moves, it could be him saying, you know what? Okay, fair enough. Maybe going the way of the elder ace wasn't what we should have done. But Verlander's kind of dispelling that because of how he's throwing the baseball right now. But it's tough to, hide away from the injury or whatever.
The latest update is this is from SNY. With just over 30 hours to go before the trade deadline, the Mets are not in deep talks with any team about Justin Verlander, but they are still listening.
I want to go back to something Dallas said quickly about the elder ace thing maybe being a mistake. I'm going to push back on that again because we cannot erase Max Scherzer's 2022 season. That.
No, I'm just telling you where Steve. I'm not. We had that conversation. I'm not dispelling the production at all. I'm saying maybe that's what he is thinking in his head.
And I also think the beauty of those contracts was always that it's a mistake you can wipe away if need be, right? And what we just saw is that instead of paying a pitcher next season that you didn't think was going to put you over the top, they paid to get one of the guys who is maybe the best prospect in their system now, which is the whole point of the Scherzer trade. And I would assume that if they can execute something similar in a Justin Verlander trade, they will attempt to do exactly that in that sort of trade.
And again, this is all like, I hate to say, like, you just gotta realize whose pool you're swimming in here. This is Steve Cohen's pool you're swimming in. So the $30+ million that essentially he's covering and paying to get the prospect back, that means nothing to him. All right. Regardless of what you or I or anybody else in baseball values that move, the fact that Steve Cohen woke up today with that organization's best prospect, he's moved on from one guy and he's given the dollars to do so. He's okay. He's fine. He's totally cool with it. I mean, not probably 100% because he'd like to be in a different position. He'd like Scherzer to be pitching well on a team that's being competitive, not fucking almost 20 games out of the division. I think that would probably be a better spot to be if you're Steve Cohen.
Jay, hey, in your estimation, is there a path to the Mets getting back to not just the postseason, because I feel like that's somewhat of a low bar, but like World Series contention? Is that something that the Mets can do next year?
No.
So you would trade Justin Verlander then?
I would. Yes, I think if Scherzer is going to go, I probably would trade Justin Verlander and attempt to execute a similar deal where I'm getting a prospect who is not a million years away and who might actually be a contributor in the next 2 or 3 seasons. Because Joey brought up a good point that we've talked about. Like, it is not a roster that's ready for a full teardown. Like, I just don't see them trading Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso and completely nuking this team. There's been no sense that that's the case, but there's zero. Like, their World Series chances as currently constructed, if you remove Justin Verlander and take basically this roster in the next season with incremental upgrades elsewhere, would be a fringe wild card contender. We would have to consider them to be the 4th best team in their own division at that point, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like, only better than the Nationals. And their path to the division is basically completely choked off. If this is the path that they're going to take, which immediately diminishes your title odds. So no, I don't think this is a quick fix. I think if your goal is 85 wins, it could be a quick fix. Like, I think they could be decent to good next year. I don't think they're capable of being great.
Wow. A lot of people owe Frank Fleming an apology. A lot of people owe Frank Fleming an apology because he was way ahead on this one. They went from 101 wins to this to we don't know what they're going to be next year. I can't imagine Steve Cohen is going to sit idly by after seeing the reaction to this season, after all the pomp and circumstance coming into this year to see what they became this year. That's got to be embarrassing. And you're not going to convince me that Steve Cohen doesn't have a competitive edge or an ego on him. Of course he does. I think I don't think he's Steinbrenner 2.0 in that he's going to rule with an iron fist and, fire Buck Showalter just to hire him back 6 more times. But, you think he is going to fire him?
No, I was going to say that I think if putting aside Mets fans themselves, the greatest baseball tragedy that could come of this is if we lose Buck Showalter because the Mets sucked this year.
Yeah.
The game is better with Buck Showalter managing for lots of different reasons, in my opinion. And, dude, when they were going well, his press conferences play. They play really well. And I hope we don't lose those because he's part of a generation of manager that we just really don't have in the game anymore. And that's that's a very small footnote on this whole thing. But since you brought it up, that's exactly what I was thinking. I hope we don't lose Buck.
I agree. I can't sit here and tell you that I think his job isn't in jeopardy. I mean, when you go from 101 wins to this and the roster and the expectations, of course, there's going to be some sort of looming danger as it pertains to your job security. But I don't think that Buck is the problem. It was a somewhat flawed roster construction, mixed with underperformance, mixed with injury issues. I mean, there's no one thing that you can point your finger at and say, this is why the Mets season ended where it did. But I think at the end of the day, you kind of have to trade Justin Verlander. Not necessarily that it's you take the best offer you can get, because I do think that there will be a team desperate enough to be like, you know what, if that's the asking price, here you go. We've seen it already with Max Scherzer. If you're gonna choose one or the other, who would you rather have in your rotation? They cost the same from a financial standpoint. You'd probably pick Justin Verlander. The asking price is probably higher because of how well he's pitched as of late. And he's been super, super linked to the Houston Astros. They are a team that needs to add in that regard, especially with the emergence of the Texas Rangers, not just this whole season, but like, look at what they've done so far. I mean, they might not be done as far as trade deadline acquisitions go. So the Astros have to respond. They were already better than you, already ahead of you, and then they upgraded. So I don't know. I'm not going to say it's a foregone conclusion, but is there a team that comes in and is more aggressive than the Astros for Justin Verlander?
Well, I mean, the recent heat seems to be on the Dodgers, who I know you brought up. But the interesting thing to me is, like, to me, you can't not trade Justin Verlander. I mean, if you can, if you hate the offers. But trading one ace and not the other is a half measure, and I just don't understand that. Like, to me, now you have an opportunity to, like, you don't. First of all, you're the Mets. Second of all, you're in the National League. You don't have to undergo some 6-year rebuild right now. Like, you can get back into the playoff hunt with a pretty quick turnaround here, potentially, if you juice this the correct way, and trading Verlander and Scherzer at what could be the height of their remaining value. Like, as Dallas said, Justin Verlander is pitching very well right now. Like, everybody's only getting older, right? But his getting older is a little bit more pressing given his age, and you have the pressure of the trade deadline. That, to me, adds up to a situation where Verlander pretty much has to go. And to what extent that pushes the Mets forward, I guess we'll have to wait to see. But, you know, as we're seeing in the NL this year, if you can win 88 games, you can get into the playoffs, and that gives you a chance, right? So, like, you asked me that title contender question. On paper, no. I don't think there'll be a true blue contender in this era again. But that doesn't mean that you can't get into the playoffs and have a magical run like we saw with the Phillies last year or something like that. Like, I think we need to adjust our mental time frames, or at least I do, about how long a rebuild or a retooling should take, particularly in the NL.
Especially how it's looking right now with, like, everyone wanting a pitcher. And the asking price being so high, like, it seems to be the time right now. If you want to trade someone, now's the time to do it, and you can get a lot of guys back. Seems like that's what the Mets should do. If I was the Mets, I'm not the Mets. I would never be the Mets, but
we would never ask you to be.
That's also just kind of speaks to my next point about how I know the Mets and their fans are not the most sympathetic figures. However, do you not feel for them? Like they had to go through the Willpons era, which was a disaster, and it was frustrating, and it was a lot of false promises just to have this beacon of hope in Steve Cohen. And I'm not blaming Steve Cohen, but the Steve Cohen era was a beacon of hope. Things were going to change. Things were going to be different. And for whatever reason, it has not turned out that way so far. It's still early. But it's for different reasons. It's for different, like, you're not looking at management going, why aren't you doing anything? Why aren't you making something happen? Why don't you care? Like, that's not the bitch. That's not the gripe. That's not the beef. So it's just now it's results oriented, which does suck because the effort has been there. You are getting everything that you didn't feel like you were getting before, and you're just not getting the results now. And so it now feels like a fucking pile-on.
Well, and also, like, yes, it is a buzzkill for sure, because the window seemed to close or slam shut so much faster than anybody could have hoped or predicted, except for maybe Frank, who I'm not giving credit. But like, the 101 win season is basically a greater achievement in a lot of ways than anything other than maybe the World Series appearance that the Willpons achieved, right? So, like, that did happen. And to your point about how nothing's changed, I know that's not really what you meant, but, like, the purchase of Luis Angel Acuna is a change in and of itself. Like, that never happens under the Willpons. It's never even a consideration under the Willpons. And like, I somebody on Twitter, I think, reminded me that we're like, we are 6 or 7 years ago to the day or something like that of when the Mets basically did a sell-off and got exclusively cash considerations for the people that they were selling off, because getting extra cash was the primary interest for the Willpons, as opposed to sending out cash to get the best possible prospect. So like, I get it. That's a very specific silver lining for Mets fans who were hoping for a World Series championship sooner rather than later. But I still think the
those are
long term
moves.
is a
Those are
lot more
moves that
optimistic.
lead to that.
Yeah,
Those are moves that lead to that, though. Like little stuff like that. Like, I'm not saying that in 3 years that he's going to be the MVP like Mr. Pena, but damn it, if he's not, like how cool would that be, right?
The Mets are much more of a medium and long-term threat as a franchise under Steve Cohen than they would have been or were under the Willpons. Whether that results in a World Series, I don't know. There's lots of great franchises and great runs that didn't result in World Series, but it does suck because they were really good last year. Like, that team could have won the World Series.
I feel like if you're a Mets fan listening right now, that's the last thing you want to hear.
Well, I don't really care. That's
You
not
guys
what I'm.
had it in
That's
the
not what
bag.
I'm not thinking
Yeah.
about what they want to hear. I'm thinking about
Yeah.
how I actually feel about the team and what objectively was true.
Yeah,
If
no,
you win
speak your
100
truth.
fucking games, you can win the World Series.
Mhm.
They ran up against, I guess, better teams. Like, there were other
You win
really
83 games, you can win the World Series.
yeah.
Mhm.
Which I mean, maybe that's the path they'll try and take now.
Bad news is that they won. Dude, to win 101 games, like that was probably the worst thing ever that could happen. Like that's a 101 win season. That's the worst 101 win season of all time. Just how they lost the division.
Right, because they
The good news is for the Mets fans is that luckily for them, they already knew the season was over in March during the WBC.
Mhm.
So I don't feel bad for them at all. They already knew the season was over in March
They did say that.
because of that fake tournament. So you guys are right.
A lot of people did say that. Anyways, the weekend headlines, every Monday episode, presented by DirecTV, home to the most local MLB games. Shout out to DirecTV for coming in hot with the weekend headlines. We got more weekend stories to get to you first, but we do have the baseball's dead parlay that I believe went 0 for 4 last week, or was that the week before?
Are we gonna get to the Rangers side on the other side of this?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Baseball
Yeah,
fans,
0
you
for
could be 0 for 4. Baseball fans, you could be winning every inning with the hottest offers in the game. DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered from the top of the first to the bottom of the ninth all season long. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 to score $150 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, all customers can take a shot at bigger payouts with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Open the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place your parlay by combining 3 or more bets from the same game. Every additional leg gets you an extra boost up to 100%. Step up to the plate now with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app, sign up with the promo code Jared, Jared. New customers can bet just $5 to score $150 in bonus bets instantly, only on the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code Jared. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after insurance, opt-in, and 10-plus leg requirement for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms. Last week, we went 0 for 4. So no one has pulled ahead in terms of individual podcaster winning percentage. We all lose. But this week, that's going to change. This week, that's going to change because I have a winner. And I'm very excited to announce my first time, I think, ever placing a wager on newly crowned Baines meter crosser, Christian Yelich, 2+ total bases. He's going up against Who are they going up against today? Jake Irvin, the Nats, he's basically got a 5 ERA, and I was looking at the numbers today. Christian Yelich against right-handed pitching this year, he's hitting .303 with a .526 slugging percentage. That is good for 12th in Major League Baseball. A .924 OPS against right-handed pitching. So Christian Yelich, 2+ total bases is my pick.
That's a great pick. I love
Thank
that
you.
pick.
Thank you.
Can I go next? Because
Yes,
it dovetails off that.
please.
You brought up Baines. I'm so confident this week that I'm actually going to issue my Harold Baines runner on third with less than 2 outs lock of the week, which is yeah. The Milwaukee Brewers winning the game that you're talking about against the Nationals. Money line minus 205. That's my pick.
Wow. The Bob guarantee.
Did Baines have good numbers in that situation? I'd love to know that.
354 career hitter.
Wow. Jeez.
That's a lock. I'll give you another lock right now.
Okay.
And that would be Mr. Jordan Alvarez, back and ready to act. Gets a hit today off Syndergaard.
Okay.
Lock it.
Noah Syndergaard and his 7.5 ERA going up against Jordan Alvarez. I like the matchup.
Well, speaking of swinging it, I just left the Mile High City and watched the fucking swinging Oz put it on the Colorado Rockies. Again, records out the window, boys and girls. Records out the window. When you watch the offense burst like it did from the swinging motherfucking A's, and
You're
then you
really
hear
going to ruin the parlay?
with the San Diego Padres going into Colorado Rocco and scoring over 6.5 runs. Pipe the fuck down, pal. I'm not done. And if you looked at the schedule, you'd realize the Oakland A's have a fucking off day. Thanks for participating, though.
I mean, yeah, no. What an outlandish thought to think that Dallas would bet on the A's. That was
have I done it? Well, I mean, just if you're paying attention, have I done it?
Crazy Jared.
Have I done it on this podcast
Yeah.
once?
Yes, you have.
No.
Yes, you have.
I may have bet on Estuary Ruiz to steal bases.
Wait, what team is he on?
No. See, those are two very different things, which is why you get player props and you get team props.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Is that Dallas making sense again? Son of a bitch.
Not really, no.
What are you talking about? Not really.
Because if you preface it by saying, "Oh, the swinging A's," blah blah blah, then you can just bet on like Brent Rooker.
Oh no, that's you. Did he go? Yeah, he did. That's you just being a little anxious out there to critique the pick
trying
when you
to
didn't
get a win.
know what was coming. That's all.
Nope, just trying to get a win is all. Just trying to win. I feel like we got a good parlay this week. Trying to get a win. Trying to get back on the horse. That's it. Jake, punch those in. We'll get it up on the DraftKings Sportsbook app so that you, the listener, you can every Monday bet with the baseball is dead parlay. Just know that mine's going to hit. Just know that. And we'll get there when we get there. On the Texas Rangers side of things now, I guess we can parlay the Scherzer trade into a Jordan Montgomery discussion as well.
Wow.
Eager, here's the bag. Jacob deGrom, here's the bag. They are loading up. And this deadline, they said, well, we have some information that you don't, and that's that Nathan Eovaldi, our ace, the holder of the second lowest ERA in the game, he's going to hit the IL. So we need to do something about that. The fact, like, I guess I want to have a positive discussion about the Texas Rangers right now because of the deadline that they're having. But to any of you, doesn't it seem like the Nathan Eovaldi injury is a little bit more concerning if they go out and get two frontline guys?
Well, concerning. You don't want to read into it, but I mean they are clearly addressing voids that they know are extremely important moving down the line. And this is coming from an organization who got a small taste, just a fucking sliver of what it was going to be like to have a guy like a DeGrom spearheading this effort. So without that, and now you're losing this guy, Eovaldi, the way he's been throwing the rock, you know. I mean, this is Bruce Bochy saying, boys, and this is Chris Young in the front office going, I got you, Skip. We understand. We get it. So yes, it's telling to an extent because you hear forearm strain, you hear ulnar anything, you hear anything with the elbow below, and your brain just goes to a not so great place. And you're always hoping that that's not the case, but that's their reality right now. So how do you remember what I said about the Rangers very early on? I said the quicker that they can move on from life without DeGrom, the better served they're going to be. Instead of trying to hem-haw around it and patchwork it until he's going to be there, the minute that they can just decide that they're not going to have him and attack from that point, the better they're going to be. And it has served them well. And this is just another layer to that. I'm not asking them to forget about Eovaldi and drop him off at the fucking bus stop, but I'm saying you have clearly got an idea of what you need moving forward, and they went and got it.
Well, and I think it's partially about Eovaldi, and I think it's also partially about the fact that they have made the decision or identified that they probably don't want Martin Perez and or Andrew Heaney starting
making those
big
starts.
Postseason games for them, right? Like
Yep.
You will probably see both of them in the rotation for big chunks of the remainder of the season, but I think they said that regardless of Eovaldi, who will be pitching in the postseason for us if he's healthy, we need better pitchers. And credit to them. Like, this is one of the storylines that we've been talking about the longest this season, that the Rangers needed to go out and get starting pitching. And I think they landed 2 of the 5 or 6 highest impact potential starting pitchers. Like, I don't think Jordan Montgomery is a great pitcher, but he has been a very good one this year, and he's been pitching his best. He's 2.5 ERA over his last 11 starts. And there's some pitch usage trends with his sinker that leads you to believe that maybe he's found something leaning into that more than he ever has before.
No,
so
and check out the change piece too, Jay. Hey, the change piece has been a little better this year for him. I mean, I don't want to say maybe even a lot better for him.
Yeah, I wasn't even saying it was better. Like, the sinker's just been used more. Like, the changeup may be the effectiveness thing, but like, to me, I just really I love what Texas did, and I love that they seized the moment. And I think that the development of some of their youngest players in the major leagues, like Young and Duran and some other guys, gave them confidence to go out and trade a top prospect to help the team win now, because they know that they have those guys as core pieces in their lineup moving forward. So I think it's, if you can push aside the Mets, the bad taste in the Mets mouth, like, I think there is a win-win element to this trade.
I would say that that's the most logical and level-headed way that I've heard that deal broken down. Like, I don't know that anyone that has a direct tie to the trade feels that way. But the truth is, there should be a win-win element to it. I know that more so on the Mets fan side of things, if you're still coming down from last year and that division race and the early exit from the postseason and the all the hype from not just the moves that were actually made, but just, we both know Kevin Clancy very well.
Yeah.
And, having seen his reaction just to Steve Cohen getting there, just to getting the Willpons out, those Mets fans were riding high, and to go from that experience to where the situation is right now without really having like a ton of time to celebrate, because even the 101 win season, it wasn't even like, we still have this dominant run to a division title. Like, they still had the embarrassment of the collapse. Like, they couldn't even enjoy a 101 win season. It feels like a curse where it's, we'll give you 101. What if I told you that we'll get the Willpons out and we'll get someone in that's going to spend a fuck ton of money and you're going to win 101 games in 2022? How's that sound? Sounds fucking awesome. Guess what? It was miserable.
And I don't blame any Mets fan who doesn't want to get overly excited or invested about the idea of the prospect they just acquired in the Max Scherzer trade, right? That's fine. That's maybe not for the end of July. Maybe that's for this offseason. Maybe that's for once the dust settles and you realize how some of this money might be reallocated or what their plan is this offseason, and you see the type of season that Acuna put together in 2023, which right now looks exceedingly promising. And you realize that he might be closer to the major leagues than perhaps was initially thought to start this season, then you can start to get excited. But I that's fine. They don't have to get excited now or be happy about it. But to me, this deal makes a lot of sense for both clubs. And I'm happy that the Rangers kind of up the ante in the AL West and in the AL overall.
Quick note, we're going to have to stop calling him Acuna. That's going to piss me off.
Well, I don't know how much we're going to be talking about him after this podcast. So I think...
Not for a little bit.
Yeah. If it becomes an issue in 24 or 25, then maybe...
How old is he? 19?
Big and little, something like that. No, I think he's like 21. I think he's older than... Yeah, he's... what is he in Double A? I want to say. I think it's pretty. He's not like some far off guy. But
that is going to be funny, Joe. There's two Acuñas in the same division race. How are you going to handle
Well, we got some time to think of a new name.
A new name.
I'm still hoping he gets moved again. I wouldn't want to see an Acuna on the Mets.
Yeah, especially the legit brother of Ronald Acuna, not just they share the same last name. How wonky is that? It's like no. This is his brother, and he could be better than him.
He could be better than him. I think when Ronald Acuna was 21, he was like a MVP candidate.
Mm-hmm. Some guys
are little bros in Double A.
Mm-hmm.
Late bloomer, hey.
Yeah. Some guys didn't really turn it on a little more until their late 30s, like Barry Bonds. Some guys don't find it until they're age 36 season.
Well, then that's got something to look forward to in 2036. Little Acuna is going to be up there making noise.
Yeah, that's going to be great. Jordan Montgomery also traded to the Rangers. The Cardinals. I don't know what the fuck's going on with the Cardinals because they're telling us, here goes Hicks, here goes Montgomery. We're gonna keep Nolan Arenado, which, you know, when you look at the contract situations of these guys, it's like, all right, yeah, Hicks, he'll be fine. Like he's gonna hit free agency. Montgomery, he wasn't a core piece over here. He wasn't homegrown. He's gonna be up at the end of the year. Here, we'll trade him over there. But is it a mistake to hang on to Nolan Arenado, which is what we're being told, that they do not intend to trade Nolan?
Yes, I don't know, because I don't know where the future of this pitching staff comes from. Like, what does this team look
also
like?
Because Flaherty, free agent at the end of the year, has not been dealt yet, but he's also going to walk at the end of the year.
Yeah, and hasn't been great. Like
no.
That's the thing. Like, if Miles Michaelis is your best pitcher, I just don't know. It just feels like this Cardinals team, the whole unit is like a train that ran out of steam, right? Like,
yeah, Adam Wainwright, 40-something years old. Like,
like
it's going to be a complete overhaul of their rotation from one year to the next.
Yeah, I think Wainwright gave like a full half decade of effective pitching, longer than I thought he would. But it's pretty clear at this point that he's toast. Like, Steven Matz has been an ineffective free agent signing. Like, it's always easier for me or you or someone to say, yes, trade the guy and tear it down and whatever. But I just don't know what this team looks like around Goldschmidt and Arenado, particularly on the pitching side. And defensively, they've been they've been like maybe the worst team in baseball this year, depending on how you measure defense.
A negative defensive run saved? Nolan?
Who?
Nolan?
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't saying he's been the worst. I'm saying that.
Well, just like
Cardinals
as a
defense,
whole, like if you want to talk about defense in the St. Louis Cardinals, you'd be like, oh yeah, like we got a platinum glover over there in the hot corner. But I'm pretty sure the defensive statistics have not loved Nolan this year.
And the team-wide defensive statistics, just like the very simple stat of what percentage of batted balls do you turn into outs, they are the worst team in the league by far, and one of the worst teams over the last decade or two in that regard. So like they don't get to baseballs very well. And we've said this so many times, the bar is so low in the Central that like, I don't think this team needs to undergo a full-on rebuild or revamping. But I just don't understand how they're like a championship caliber club with the pitching that's currently in-house. And if trading Arenado can help you balance this team out a little bit or lengthen the runway a little bit for this team, then maybe that's your best path towards doing so. I don't know.
I was gonna ask you guys, and I feel like there might be some people listening that are gonna say, why aren't the Padres included in this particular question? But I do have a note in the show notes today about, are the San Diego Padres back based on what they did this past weekend? So I'll ask you guys the question without the Padres being included. What team, based on what we saw from them last year, has disappointed you the most this year? Between the Mets and the Cardinals and the Yankees, like, what team has been the most, the gap between expectation and result? Who has the largest gap, I suppose?
I think that would be the Cardinals. Well, I mean,
expectation and result
between the Cardinals and the Yankees. Because what are the Yankees' expectations every year, right? Whether they're realistic or not.
Yeah. I mean, they are in last place. They are in last place. Not to pile on.
So are the St. Louis Cardinals.
To me, it's got to be the Padres.
Still,
still the Padres. They're the only team of this group that I think me, and if any of you are being honest, you guys were actually excited about to start the season. We were not excited about the Yankees. Nobody gives a fuck about the Cardinals because it's the same team basically every year, and you're just like, they're going to roll out the ball and win the NL Central. Like that's how that works.
Well, that's part of expectation. That's part of expectation.
I'm not saying they haven't been disappointing.
And now they're in last place.
But I don't know, man. I think the hype on the Padres was as much as the rest of those teams combined. And while they might be
the Padres, right?
No, but he's saying
the Padres right now, they're 2 games under 500. They swept
Yankees
the
are
weekend
over 500.
series.
Yeah, and don't let the Fernando Tatis / LeBron James skit get to you, Jay. Like, don't let that be the, yes, I'll agree. We were all very excited about what the Padres were putting together and what that lineup could look like. And I was the one who said, let's all remind ourselves that there's going to be a litany of stars in that room. And not all of them are going to want to put on sunglasses to prevent the other one from shining. Some are just going to want to shine brighter and say, fuck the sunglasses. And whether or not that's been the case at times, I don't know. But yes, expectation, absolutely there.
To me, it had nothing to do with the how many championships press conference or whatever. Like I didn't give a fuck that they did that. It didn't impact my expectations at all. What I was looking forward to was seeing this group of 4 or 5 players with that rotation play on the field together in that stadium and in that setting. And maybe I'm being unfair, but it doesn't feel like all 4 of them or 3 of the 4 of them have been playing good baseball at the same time at any point this season. And it just doesn't feel like it hasn't been the viewing experience and the excitement level that I thought we were going to get from the San Diego Padres putting that team together. It feels undeniable.
Well, Blake Snell and Gary Sanchez are playing well together.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Hasak Kim.
All right.
What you just dispel that?
All right, so we get to see Blake Snell once every 5th day, and Musgrove's been great too. Nobody was excited about this team because of Blake Snell and Joe Musgrove. They were excited because of Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado, and Xander Bogaerts.
And Kim's defense at second. That was like a big selling point, and he's lived up to it.
You can't tell me what
the best player on the team.
Excited.
I can't put the Padres in that category because I think the Padres still have a shot to make the playoffs, whereas the Mets and Cardinals have 0 shot. I think it's definitely between those teams. The Mets, I'd probably say they're the most disappointing just because I think their expectations were up there as one of the top teams. Mm-hmm. They were the World Series contenders. They were going to win it all. Cardinals, a little bit. I think the Cardinals are disappointing just because they're in a shit division and are literally in last place, even though they have a roster that's way better than everyone else's, are in last place. Mm-hmm. However, I don't think everyone was picking the Cardinals to be in the World Series. The Mets had a lot of picks. And to go out and pay Verlander, I guess it's really only one major free agent signing. But yeah, to have those 2 guys and be where they're at and have to trade them, Call me bias. Mets suck ass.
Call you Javi bias.
They could use Javi bias. Maybe that's a trade.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of agree with Joey in the sense that the Padres aren't out of it. Like in the conversation of the biggest gap between expectation and result.
9.5 out of the wild card, right?
No, 5, I think.
Or 5 out of the wild card. Sorry.
Yeah, that's not fucking close.
What was
They,
it?
yeah, they've won 3 straight. They're playing better baseball. There's 2 months of baseball left.
Pirates.
They haven't done anything yet, trade deadline wise, right? No, they haven't done anything.
Who, the Padres?
No.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, they've done nothing of note. So I don't
4th
know.
in their own division.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're still breathing.
There's-
though.
It's
Like,
the Pirates who are 9.5 out.
The
Yeah, well,
Cardinals.
Anybody
Cardinals and the Mets are no
anybody
longer breathing.
anybody
They dead.
breathing knew that the Pirates were going to fade. I hope we don't have audio of anybody getting on the Pirates bandwagon. Holy shit.
Holy shit!
It's going to be good for the best of 2023 is going to be so good. I can't wait to hear that April podcast content.
Paul schemes.
Yeah. You had no idea that the rough seas of 2023 were going to bring you the best farm system in baseball, and
Oh
that
my
belongs
God.
to the Pittsburgh Pirates.
They would have had Paul fucking Skeens even if they
That's
were
right.
successful this year. That had nothing to do
Suck
with
it, Jay Hay. Suck it.
That was determined
Best
off of
farm
last
system
year's
in
record.
baseball. Dick.
0.3% are their current playoff odds. That is very low. That's bottom of the ocean low.
No, it's not
That's-
Mariana Trench low.
That's 1% lower than the Cardinals,
It's all right.
who just
Cards are
traded
still
off most of
pecking
their
around.
team.
Cards are still pecking around.
Are the Pirates going to let Andrew McCutchen go? Can we get him to a contender? The reunion's
I think
over.
he wants to.
The good feelings
I think
are
he
over.
wants to ride it out. I think he wants to ride it out in the bird.
God, he wants to be like the captain of that Titanic who shuts himself in the room and then just lets the glass like.
And why are you hating the man for it?
I'm not hating it. We should get him back to the postseason. Get him on a better situation than that absolute shithole.
Maybe he likes it.
Absolute shit. Corey Graves is throwing out the first pitch at some point soon.
Nice.
Pirates still get that to look forward to.
Yeah, that guy was actually the one of the most measured guys about the Pirates that we talked to. He was like, careful. we brought on the Pirates guy to be hyped on the Pirates. He's like, I don't know, guys. I'm not getting too pumped on that.
Yeah, he's like Dallas. I really don't know how you do it. You know, you're a brave guy.
Yeah. Well, I was talking Pirates. Did not expect the Pirates to come up in the trade deadline recap here, but the Chicago Cubs have told teams we are not trading Cody Bellinger after
Good.
weeks of speculation that Cody Bellinger was. I mean, the Yankees think that they're trading for everyone. They've traded for no one. Which is similar in free agency. They were gonna sign like Manny Machado, Bryce Harper, Justin Verlander, Edwin Diaz. Like they were gonna sign all those guys. They signed nobody. So
Look, I got hold on before we get into this. This is something that has bothered me for a long time, and I just don't understand it.
What?
I just can't wrap my head around it. As a front office, why would you ever tell anybody else that somebody is off the market at a time like this, especially a guy like Cody Bellinger right now? But why would you ever say, no, you know what? I don't even want to hear what you might offer. I don't even want to have, I don't want any clue as to what you might be willing to part ways with. I don't want to know any of that about you and your organization. Nope, no thanks. Don't
you already
want
know the
any of
answer
that
to your own question, Dallas. You say a guy is off the table. It's like, no, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. And then you get a team being like, but come on, like what? All right, fine. What if we throw in this part? Like that's, you know how that shit
But
works.
how many? Give me
no
an
one is
example.
unavailable.
Give me the example of that guy though that a team has taken a public stance on like that getting moved.
That's unfair.
I mean, on the
can't think of
spot,
it off
I
the top of my
can't
head.
like no one like comes to mind, but it's definitely happened where a team has been like, nope, we're not doing it. Just kidding. He's traded.
Yeah, like that's what I'm not, and I'm talking about like at the deadline because I lived it when the Oakland A's told Nick Swisher.
Oh, fucking Josh Donaldson. Perfect example. Billy Beane. Hey, stop calling about Josh Donaldson. We're not doing it. Billy Beane told the Red Sox he ain't not trading Josh Donaldson. 3 days later, Josh Donaldson, you are a Toronto Blue Jay.
Yeah, well, you understand why also. So
he fucking hates the Red Sox.
No. They're
Yes,
like unless no. I'm not saying that Billy Beane doesn't hate the Red Sox. Why would Billy hate the Red Sox?
Because they didn't hire him.
See, I'm just
see
going to
Moneyball?
say
we can't do this.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want. This is not the point. No one cares.
Well, it's because I believe that I'm not sure that you quite have all of the information you need.
No, I saw Moneyball, dude.
Well, that's yeah.
Obviously not. If you saw Moneyball, you'd know.
Yeah.
The story, which is probably, who knows if it's real. He
Yeah.
turned down the Sox because he said the Sox suck ass.
That's not true.
No,
They immediately won the World Series, and Billy Beane has never won one.
Yeah,
Go
there's
ahead.
a lot of facts and a
On the
lot of
trade.
things that would
Go ahead
go
on the
into
trade stuff.
Yeah. So that's just inaccurate.
No, that's
but I
not
mean,
the point.
hold on. The real answer to the question, I don't know why I have to be the clubhouse guy here, Dallas. Isn't it because they're trying to inspire some level of belief and confidence or send a message to the people that are playing for the Cubs right now that, hey, this is a team that we will add to if you keep winning, or we will consider not pairing off if you keep winning? Like, that seemed to be the message to me. Like, whether that's bullshit or not is probably a coin flip, but that seems to be like the PR messaging here, doesn't it?
You do that, you send that message by bringing somebody in. So it's one thing to say, hey, this guy's not going, right? It's one thing to say that, but that's how the front office relationship works is you guys put us in a position to make a move and bolster what we've got going on here, then by all means, we will do that. But you guys also need to understand in that room, if you aren't winning games and you aren't putting forth the type of baseball that says we can support that and we start to fall out of a place where we can compete, well, then we're going to have to look towards the future. And you guys understand that as well.
So that's the distinction. That's the distinction between this and the Angels situation, because the Angels came out and said, we're not trading Ohtani a week before the deadline, but that was coupled with the Giolito trade, right? Yeah,
absolutely. Okay. So that's how you send that message, Jay, to your point. Like is Bellinger Shohei Ohtani? Are the guys in the clubhouse going to be up in arms if Bellinger leaves the way that Shohei Ohtani, like the impact?
Not in the same
way.
way.
We don't even need to have that discussion,
Yeah.
right? We don't even need to have that discussion. So to have those guys come in solidifies what Artie Moreno and the whole Angels franchise is trying to do, which is tell Shohei that we will commit to this winning effort that you desire. We're going to show you by keeping you, and we're going to show you by bringing guys in.
Well, that's well, I guess the other question is if they're going to go out there and say we're not trading Cody Bellinger, why haven't they said anything about Marcus Stroman? If the whole point is we're sending a message like, hey, we're going for it, like we want to rally up the boys in the clubhouse by saying we're not trading Bellinger because we're going for it, why hasn't Marcus Stroman gotten the same protection from the organization?
Who's that question for?
Anybody?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I said what I said about the messaging. That's why I answered Jay Hayes' question the way I did, is because them coming out and being vocal isn't necessarily, in my opinion, a protection of Cody Bellinger or a reinforcement to the clubhouse. Because now you're asking, well, why aren't you posterizing Stroh in that regard? Why aren't you sending that message publicly? Because that's not what they're trying to do.
Does he get moved then?
Well, again, to my point, why would a front office ever come out and say, no, thanks, we're not interested on hearing anything you have to say? That just
no
has
one,
always
no one
struck me.
actually is doing that though. Like no one is.
So
like,
then
hey,
why? So then, like I said, I mean,
here's
we've
someone
talked about
calling,
the
like I'm just gonna not even take this call. Like they're all taking the call.
well, they all feel compelled to talk about not taking the calls. So
Yeah.
that's why, I mean, it causes the gray area too. Like, okay, what are we doing with Stroh then?
So then,
I don't think
in
we-
your mind, is he still on the Cubs Tuesday at 6:01 p.m. Eastern?
Who, Cody Bellinger?
No, Marcus Stroman.
I would have to think so. He's a big part of what they're trying to do. And there's no reason to think that moving Cody Bellinger or moving Marcus Stroman would signal different things.
See, I just
Right?
think that that's a mistake because it took a 8-game winning streak for them to get above 500. Like that's not sustainable. Like
But maybe they feel like Cody Bellinger is who he is and will continue to be who he's been, and they can rely on that. And if they can rely on that, maybe some other guys that need to step up start to come to surface and they've got a shot. I mean, I don't know how realistic that is, but if they're coming out publicly and saying those things.
You know what's interesting is the Cubs, for however you feel about the Cubs, they're a game over 500, right? They have a better run differential than the first place Baltimore Orioles, who have the best record in the American League.
What the heck?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's the type of stuff that they're looking at, being like, hey, if we can just
that's
get
all part of
in-
the street too. That's all
like
part
we
of the
can
street.
we can hang. Like the Chicago Cubs coming into play today on Monday have a plus 57 run differential. You look around the league at some of these other playoff teams that are playoff hopefuls. The Phillies plus 8, the Marlins negative 21, the Astros plus 55, the Angels plus 25, the Guards plus 6, the first place Twins plus 34, the Yankees plus 9, the Blue Jays plus 53, the Red Sox plus 48, and the Orioles plus 48. It's like you've got
outside of the San Diego Padres, the Chicago Cubs have the second best run differential in the National League postseason contenders.
Yeah. It even bleeds over to the American League.
It's tough though, because the Cubs have like two of the most obvious trade guys ever. Like two guys who are performing better this year than they have, at least in recent years, by a lot, and are going to be free agents at the end of the year. It seems like they should probably trade
I'm not
him.
saying
Like,
that's
I
a
don't know
reason to
anyone-
go for it, but I'm just saying that that's probably what, like, maybe how they're looking at it is, oh, we can hang with these other teams. Like the only team, this is a list of teams that have a better run differential than the Cubs. The Braves, Rangers, Rays, Dodgers, and Padres. That's it.
Yeah. And when I said playoff contending, I meant teams that weren't already locked into a playoff spot. So like outside of the Braves, the Dodgers, even including the Reds, who they have a better run differential than the Giants, the Marlins, the Brewers. But you know what else this strikes up is, all right, if the Cubs do have these guys who are performing better than they have recently and could be a part of what they're trying to move forward with, isn't that what kind of backing in to the wild card is all about? Is keeping players that can help you back into a wild card? So now the conversation becomes, what line of demarcation do organizations create where they decide, even with what we've got right now, it's better to sell them? Like, are the prospect haul for either one of those guys right now going to be worth more than what they could potentially do should they back into the postseason?
If they backed in, I think the odds are low. To me, it's kind of like almost kind of like concerning as a Cubs fan, because it almost feels like they think that their chance to make the playoffs this year is like, this is what they did it for. Like, this is the peak of the Cubs. Like, they got these guys who they could trade and get a lot of guys right now. The way trade market is, for Stroman, you could get a shit ton. Like, I think if the Cubs were really all in and wanted to spend a lot and contend now or soon, they would trade Stroman and then, sign free agents in the offseason. It almost kind of makes me think that this is kind of what they think their peak is in a way. They're aiming for the middle wild card spot.
I didn't realize that Cody Bellinger has an option for next year. It's a mutual option for
Decline.
$25 million though. This year, $12.5 million for Cody, which I think somehow became 17.5. I don't know how the fuck that happened. Signing bonus maybe. But yeah, $25 million mutual option with a $5 million buyout next year for Cody. I thought he was a free agent at the end of the year, so it's like,
Yeah, might as well be. I'd love to know the last time a mutual option was exercised on both sides. Can't be very often.
no. Yeah. So there you go. That's the Cubs situation. Fascinating to watch. And it's only that way because that third wild card spot. Like you've got these teams that are now being forced to ask themselves questions that they wouldn't normally have to ask themselves. Like the Cubs are not having this discussion without that third wild card spot. It's just not. It's not necessary to have. Like, yeah, like, we're not going for it right now. The Chicago Cubs are 3.5 back. They did lose on Sunday, but you've got the Giants, Brewers, and Marlins locked into a playoff spot, which the Brewers and Marlins have the same record. Then you have the Philadelphia Phillies, who are a half game out, the D-backs, who are a full game out, and then right there, the Cubs, 3.5. 3.5. So, doesn't seem likely, but you can't look those guys in the clubhouse in the face after winning 8 straight and say, hey, great effort and all, but we're selling. Like, you guys are not in it. You just can't do that. You just can't do it.
Yeah, like when the Mariners moved Kendall Graveman.
Yeah, to the team that they just fucking beat.
Right, and then Toro turns around and hits a fucking grand slam off of Kendall Graveman.
Yeah. Yeah.
The guy they traded each other for.
A lot of deleted tweets.
Yeah.
After that home run. Yeah.
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 A lot of deleted beers for Dallas this weekend.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Buddy, I gotta yeah, go ahead.
I went out on Friday night. First time I went out in a long time. Had a nice little table set up, playing some Jenga, some Uno. The Blue Moons were flowing. I knew the promoter at the bar, so he even put on SmackDown for me. We were watching wrestling. Ended right at 10. Sox started right at 10. What a relay race that was. SmackDown right into Sox. Blue Moons are flowing. Playoffs are right around the corner, by the way. So it's time to help your team out by sticking to your lucky rituals, like the ritual of enjoying an ice cold Blue Moon while the game is on. Blue Moon was born in a ballpark, first brewed at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. Make it your one-of-a-kind baseball tradition, whether you're at the park or watching from home. I will be meeting with some Blue Moon representatives later because that contest, I think it's watch an inning, which I think is ridiculous. Like if someone wins a contest, we're going to watch the whole game. I'm going to take you up on the Green Monster. We'll have some Blue Moons. It'll be fun. I don't know. I think it's probably like whoever wins it gets to pick what game, but the Blue Moons will be flowing. We'll FaceTime Dallas. It'll be a whole thing with its refreshing flavor. What, did you make a face, Dallas?
About what? No. Go ahead.
What did you make a face for?
He wasn't
He
listening.
doesn't seem to be.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to be looped in on this blue moon sweepstakes.
No.
Hopefully, he's not busy that day.
Well, he just has to answer a phone call.
He's just receiving a FaceTime. It's a low lift for.
Yeah, it's a pretty light lift. With its refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander. Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full-flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Blue Moon was brewed by baseball to give you a dose of nostalgia and get you excited for the new season. Why strike out with the same old beer when you can get something that's one of a kind? It's bold flavor, bright explosion of color, and iconic orange slice ritual. Guarantees a one-of-a-kind beer experience perfect for spring weather. Best served with its signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful bright color. A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all season long. Brighten up your baseball traditions with Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale. It's a one-of-a-kind every time. Check out shop.bluemoonbrewingcompany.com for baseball merch and visit get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket to find Blue Moon delivery options. That is get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket. Blue Moon, made brighter, celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado Ale. Joe, how far are you from Baltimore?
1 hour.
1 hour driving?
Yeah, maybe a little. Yeah, about 1 hour.
So, like, we've been throwing around the idea of doing some live events for the playoffs, and I feel like we have to get in that bird bath.
Whew.
I feel like it would be a huge miss if we didn't do an Orioles playoff game in the bird bath.
Well, last time we went to a playoff game, you were fucking scared of the rain, and you made us go inside out of our seats and miss the Bryce Harper.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize they allowed firearms at the game. Did I put a gun to your head and tell you to come with me?
I'm down. Obviously, I'd love the bird baths.
So you could have sat in your seat in the rain if you wanted to, is what you're saying?
100%. I brought a fucking rain jacket. I had hood on.
It was like 36 degrees and pouring, and I was like, listen, I'm not getting pneumonia for the Philadelphia Phillies. Happy for what they're doing, but I am going to seek shelter. If it were my team, sure, I'm out there, no doubt.
But you'll get pneumonia for the O's.
It's going to be early. If we go for early October, it's still going to be nice weather.
Better hope, brother.
You better hope.
It
really does depend on the postseason. I've been to some early October games where it is brick outside, and I've been to some early postseason games where, like the Red Sox postseason run in 2007, we were wearing short sleeves for the fucking Game 7 of the ALCS. It was beautiful out.
I'd be nervous if I was you, Jared, walking into the home of Babe Ruth after all the things you said about that man.
They probably hate
might jump your ass.
People in Baltimore, they're good people. People in Baltimore are definitely anti slaughter.
Completely. Oh, well, okay. Anti-slaughter. I can't speak to anti-slaughter. I'd like to think that all of us are anti-slaughter. But
you'd like to think that, but it's just not the case. Especially you, Dallas.
Nope. Big anti-slaughter guy. Big anti-slaughter.
Well, slaughter some crabs when we're down in Baltimore.
Oh,
right now.
Yeah. Go to Pickles. Is that what it's called? Pickles?
Jared got crabs.
Yeah. Joe, you know Pickles?
Yeah, Pickle. That's the bar right outside of the stadium, right?
Yeah, that is. Yeah, been there.
Mr. Pickles Sandwich Shop. Shout out to Mr. Pickles Sandwich Shop. Oh my God. I used to absolutely hammer that place. Had every colored t-shirt that they sold.
Where is this?
We used to have one in the 209. They did not.
So we're just fucking like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, we're talking about Baltimore in the playoffs, and he's like, anyway, so in Stockton, we got this place called Pickles, and they got all these bright colored t-shirts. You got it anytime you're in the 209, brother. If you go down to Oakland,
not now. They're gone. They're gone. Not now.
Yeah, they're gone.
Bay Area.
Yeah,
Oakland,
back in the day.
for sure. Oakland for sure.
Fucking unbelievable. Guy can't go 20 minutes without directing something back to the A's.
Some place fucking open in the early 90s and stuff.
It's great, man.
Screen printed t-shirts and shit.
It was great. You guys missed out.
Yeah.
You guys missed out.
Yeah. Shout out.
That's your
Shout out.
Fault.
If you ever get a time machine and you want to go to this place with funky t-shirts.
I'm telling you, if there's a fucking Mr. Pickles Sandwich Shop that still exists right now, like holler at me. I'm your fucking guy. Been your guy.
Where you been, guy?
Where the fuck you been?
Yeah.
Broke my heart when you uprooted, man.
Mm-hmm. That is simply stunning. All right. Well, the Angels continue to quote unquote go for it. They've added Randall Grichuk and CJ Cron. Randall Grichuk of Saugus Little League fame. Randall Grichuk, I believe, was the losing pitcher when Saugus Little League walked him off in 2003 Little League World Series. He also famously was the player that was selected by the Angels before Mike Trout in the draft.
Just ahead of Mike
Yeah,
Trout.
they had back-to-back picks, and they went Grichuk Trout.
Yeah.
Now he's back.
It's pretty cool, actually. We're on the plane ride home from Colorado, and CJ Cron, son of Chris Cron, who is one of our hitting coaches on the A's, he ends up getting traded like right before we land, and it all pops up on the, everybody that has alerts on their phone or whatever, they could get it, and we all just kind of get up and congratulate Crony or whatever. But it's just a cool moment, like, because we were just there, and the conversation is, yeah, team's not playing well, yeah, not either, just, hey, keep grinding, blah blah blah, have a good year, and we'll see you at the house at the end, blah blah blah, and then boom, gets thrust right into the middle of a crazy scene, which is going to be Anaheim, and what that looks like, who knows? But I think very cool for the Halos. I know it was a cool moment for Chris Cron. But yeah, I mean, dude, got Alec Manoah firing a fucking heater off the grill of Taylor Ward. He's done for the season. Hope he's going to be
really?
okay.
That's official?
Face fracture, man.
Jesus Christ. I saw that there was blood. I didn't see the update.
Yeah. You know what? Am I wrong? No, I think he's done.
No, you're right. I don't know the fracture, but they're saying he's out for the season.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, I thought that was the case. If I'm wrong, I apologize. I that was one of the last things I thought I saw before I checked out. But yeah, I think it's again, it's another good sign, and it's another effort on behalf of Anaheim to say, look, we're trying. We are trying. Yeah. This is what we can do. We're doing it.
I mean, is it enough?
Well, whether it's enough or not, Jared, that's going to remain to be seen.
I'm just saying, eyeball test. Is it enough? I mean, they made these moves. It's a very small sample. They made these moves, and then over the weekend they lost the series to the Blue Jays. And now they have the Braves.
They won the last game. They won the last game.
They did win the last game.
I mean, that was maybe a must-win game.
Yep. And Shohei had the fucking best day of the history of baseball.
Ever.
10 hours after this massive trade.
Ever.
And the momentum's all on their side. I mean, listen, I think logically, if you went into your brain and you do math and thought about the possible scenarios, you'd say probably it's not enough. But I think the juju odds are higher than most teams.
I don't know.
Change my mind.
True. I don't know.
Change my mind. Change my mind.
All right, go ahead.
Dude, they brought in Giolito. No one thought that was going to happen. Boom. That's good juju. Shohei hits 7 home runs, his pitches 100 strikeouts. It's pretty good juju. 2 things in a row. What happens? They get punched in the mouth by the Blue Jays, and then literally get hit in the face by a fastball that takes out one of their outfielders. What do? They get 2 of them. So it's like every time they get hit, they're just coming back with another hit. Wasn't there a boxing match this weekend? Same thing in that match.
Oh, there was.
Wow.
Somebody got hit, and then I saw online that he got back up.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Angels are doing. And did that guy win the fight, Dallas?
He sure did.
He got knocked on his ass and then came back up and won?
Belted, homie. Doubled up.
There you go. And that could be the Angels right now. That's what it's kind of feeling like. Even though I don't think they're going to do it, that's what it feels like could happen because the juju is good.
Yeah, I mean, Randall Grichuk, as of right now, Randall Grichuk swinging the bat.
I would hope so.
CJ Cron was picked to be one of the best players in the NL West this year. MVP.
I made a comment about that CJ Cron, some said, was going to be the best hitter in that division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tough look.
Yeah, I
for
mean
him
that
on
didn't
one.
pan out. That didn't work out. But he is now with the Angels and hopefully can supplement that offense.
They need supplementation. Right now, what's happening, if you're watching the Angels, is that Shohei hits a home run and then gets intentionally walked 4 times in a row. So it's
Yeah.
tough to win sometimes when that happens.
Yeah. And Jay, hey, you could kiss my ass about wrestling with WAR, you son of a bitch. Obviously, I
One of the great
understand that
rivalries of all time. Yep.
I understand that he was not able to achieve 2 total wins because he didn't throw and catch and get all of the outs and blah, 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 blah.
I don't like to assume with you, big guy. You know,
I get that, but there's just no fucking way you look at those games and are like, yeah, I mean, we could just give him 2 wins here. Like this is because if he doesn't show up, this isn't happening. This just doesn't work this way. So maybe it should be a vote. Like I think at the end of every game, the WAR panel should just get together and go, all right, would they have had this without him? No? Okay, just fucking tack another one on. Tack another one on. That's how I think WAR should be treated when it comes to Shohei, especially when he's doing shit like this. If he gives you a quality start and hits a homer, that's worth a fucking dub. Absolutely. Give him a win for sure. Stacking dubs.
I had that in the notes because I didn't want to. I wanted to make sure that we didn't forget it and that we did it just because. What was that on Thursday? Yeah,
it was
Thursday.
Like the day we recorded. Yeah,
it was the day that we dropped the last episode. Shohei throws a 1-hit complete game shutout in the first game of a doubleheader. Then he hits 2 home runs in the nightcap. Then on Friday, in his first at bat against Kevin Gausman, who's having an outstanding year, he takes him deep. So it was a complete game, 1-hit shutout, followed by
shut piece.
3 straight at bats where he homered in 2 different countries. And I was like, you know what? I know that there's going to be a lot of trades to talk about on the next episode, and we're going to talk about those. But please let me make sure that we don't forget to talk about what Shohei just did. And I even said, I tweeted this. Like if I'm, it's not even like if you're talking like a baseball fan or like a casual baseball fan, just anyone. Like if I'm having a conversation with you this past weekend and I'm telling you, and like when I saw Shohei hit the second home run of the doubleheader, I had to pull over. I was like, I'm too, like, I know I'm not focused on the road right now, so I need to pull over so I don't kill anybody. Like I pulled over to tweet the highlight of his second homer. And when you're having a conversation about what he did, especially after the Toronto homer, if your reaction isn't complete, just blown away, then I was like, I don't want to continue the conversation. I can't be the person that's super, super, super excited about this and then have you not match my energy. I'm not interested in continuing the conversation.
Looks like you're going to have to cancel lunch with Roger Morris Jr. then. Roger Maris Jr.
Roger Morris.
Roger Morris.
Did you see this motherfucker? Brian.
No, he's got 36 different reasons why Aaron Judge is significantly better than Shohei Ohtani. No, what do you got? What do you say?
Brian Hoke. He's the beat reporter for the Yankees. He wrote a book about the Aaron Judge's season last year. And I was joking. I was like, let me guess, Roger Maris Jr. wrote the foreword. And I see the motherfucking book, foreword by Roger Maris Jr. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. You couldn't have had Aaron Judge's mom or like literally anyone else. Like this motherfucker wrote the foreword to this book about the 62. Like, get the fuck out of here, Roger Maris Jr. Christ almighty with that guy.
Yeah. It's
book Roger Maris Jr. I got something to say to that motherfucker. Get him on here.
It's one thing. Look, Ohtani, in my opinion, and he's been there for me, just because I know how unfucking realistic it is for a human being to be doing what he's doing at this level. Okay. I haven't needed to be preached to on this. There's a lot of other folks that have already gotten tired of it. And that, again, is an indictment on them, not anybody who just wants to wants to preach the gospel of Showtime, but there is no arguing his transcendent presence now in sports. Like he's very close, if he's not already there, to not being a baseball player anymore, but to just being Ohtani. You know what I mean? Kind of like Jordan. You know what comes along
He's
with
a
that?
brand. He's a brand.
There's nothing preventing him from, let me slow the fuck down, because MJ got 6 of them things that'll tell you that there are some things that prevent you from being a global brand and icon. And that's probably a few of them. But aside from the championships that Shohei Ohtani has yet to log, what he's done, how he's done it, who he is, and how he goes about it has transcended the sport of baseball. He's left baseball almost in the dust, where what he's going to be doing, like I'm telling you right now, like the shit that's coming down the pipeline with New Balance, folks, just wait. Just wait.
What do you mean?
Well, the shoe game, there's going to be some special things.
We've been talking about this for
pop up.
5 years, and I've just been patiently waiting for some baseball player to step up and be like,
It's
let's
coming.
Let's do a sneaker.
It's coming. It's
And it's going to be New Balance?
Yeah.
What's
coming.
Lindor? Is he New Balance?
Yeah, Lindor's New Balance.
Yeah. I mean, I wish that there was some baseball player that had a relationship with Nike that, like Mookie Betts. What the fuck, dude? He's a sneaker guy. I believe he's a Nike guy. How has he not been? And he's in LA. Like, you're a businessman. You're in LA, dude. Like, call a meeting with Nike. Be like, hey, how do we get like a sick Mookie, like Jordan 1 or something? Anything. I don't know. Like, I feel like he would be at the front lines of something like that.
So you telling me the fucking Clayton Kershaw Skechers relationship isn't doing anything for you?
I would. Do they really make those?
He pitches in Skechers, Jared.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna wear cleats walking down the street. I would wear a Clayton Kershaw Skechers sneaker, no doubt.
Hey, if he sold like, I need some kind. Give me this.
Yeah.
Give me his wind up leg lift as a logo on the back of the shoe, and I'm wearing the CKs all day long.
Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah, I guarantee you, if I knew about it and they're real, are they just cleats or do they also have just sneakers? Clayton,
They don't have there's no Clayton Kershaw signature line, unfortunately, yet.
Yeah, there's no like cross trainer. How Bryce Harper has the cross trainers, how Lindor has the turf. You know, like they don't have that option, because that's all a baseball shoe is, or a baseball player's shoe is essentially the turf that they wear, you know, in the cage, take ground balls, whatever.
I mean, Mookie can come out with a basketball sneaker and no one is gonna like bat an eye, be like, "Aren't you a baseball player?" It's like, yeah, but he can play every sport. Like Mookie Betts having a basketball sneaker is that's totally common.
That's why Mookie Betts needs to come out with like some Nike ACG fucking shin high boot thing. So you can do anything in this. Like, you could bowl in this, you could hike in this, you could fucking fire threes in this, you could get in the cage and work oppo in this, you could do anything in this shoe. The Mookie Moon boot. The fucking Mookie Moon boot. I'm here for it.
I don't know who I got to get into a room with, but we've got to figure this out, because I feel like we've been talking about this for a long time. Like, legitimately, like we've been talking about this for a long time. Kind of like we've been talking about buying tickets to your favorite events and how it shouldn't be stressful. And I agree with that sentiment. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you, with killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for all the fun that you'll have. They've got flash deals on last-minute tickets. It's easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. They give you the image of the seats, which I told you I just got Ellen tickets to what's his face, the Zach Brown band. It's like, yeah, any type of ticket you want, we got the view, we got it for last minute. Don't worry about it, don't sweat it. Game Time. People are in the Reddit page being like, "Oh, what's that app that they use? It's Game Time. What's the promo code? It's Jared, Jared. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Exclusive flash deals for tickets on football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The Game Time guarantee, which is very similar to the Bob guarantee, means that you will guarantee you will always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Get images of your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds. 2 taps and you're set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone so you never have to dig through your email. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code Jared, Jared, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use the promo code Jared for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Okay, so we've hit on Scherzer, the Rangers side, the Mets side. We didn't really talk a ton about Jordan Hicks, the Blue Jays. We kind of just glazed over that one. Jordan Romano's hurt, so this is something that's going to help the back end of the Blue Jays bullpen. Is this enough for Toronto? I feel like it's not.
I mean, I don't know if it's enough, but I like the pickup.
Sure.
I think it's finally like Hicks this year feels like he's translating more of his potential into production than he has in past years. And it's like, I know everybody likes to focus on the sinker, and like, obviously it's incredibly impressive and very fast.
Slider.
Yeah, it's way more interesting to me. Like, I think Savant classifies it as a sweeper, whatever we want to call it. Yeah. But it's a new pitch this year for him, basically, and batters are 3 for 31 with 20 strikeouts against it, and the whiff rate almost 60%. So, like, that's a fucking game changer for him. The issue for him has always been, why is this guy not missing bats that line up with the quality of his stuff, specifically his fastball? And this pitch has opened that up. His strikeout rate's a career high and up 7% over where it was last year. So
well, and the slider, the slider's coming out a little hotter too. It's 2 miles an hour harder than it has been. And the fact that the 4-seam fastball, because I mean the sinker is 104. 4-seamer would, like, you're talking about a dude who, according to Quest and Baseball Info, has thrown 423 fastballs at 100 miles an hour or harder. That's the most in Major League Baseball, averaging 100.6. That's the highest average mark in Major League Baseball. So now you're starting to get a feel for the heater up top. You're starting to get a feel for that sweeping slider. That's right. It's still a slider. It's not a fucking sweeper. It's a sweeping slider. Now you're starting to garner, as Jay Hay said, a little more of that swing and miss that you would have liked to have had. But hey, either way. And think about this, 23 strikeouts on the slider so far this year. He had just 39 all of last year.
This is a subjective thing, but this has to be one of the most irritating types of trades from the Cardinals' perspective, where it feels like you've been waiting a half decade or more for a guy to realize his potential on your team. A lot of starts and stops, a lot of injury stuff with him, ineffectiveness. And then right when it feels like it's all coming together or has come together, he's a pending free agent and you trade him for some guy that you might see in 4 or 5 years. Like, it's just, that's got to be frustrating from the Cardinals side, but from the Blue Jays side, I mean, you said Romano to the IL is the key part of this, and I think he is a nice bridge until and if Romano gets back.
It's a nice pickup. It's still not enough, though. Obviously, the Toronto Blue Jays don't belong in the conversation of most disappointing team when we're talking about these teams that have massive expectations, big payrolls, and having World Series parades before the season starts. But the Blue Jays have turned a little bit of a corner here. They are 12 games over 500. Yeah, 5.5 back. It's crazy to me how the AL East kind of went from a runaway for the Tampa Bay Rays to like kind of like a 3-team race. Like the Blue Jays being 5.5 back, it's not like they're within striking distance of the Orioles, but one great week from Toronto and one shit week from Tampa, which we've seen them, they're capable of doing.
Are you saying 5.5 is insurmountable?
No, I didn't say that. I just said they're not within striking distance at 5.5, but they're definitely within in like they're not out of it. They're in it.
They're spitting distance.
Yeah, they're in the division race at 5.5.
Yes, for sure. That's what I was, I guess, wondering what you were getting at.
Yeah.
Are you counting them out of the division at 5.5?
No.
Okay.
No, I just don't think like I got to get to probably 3.5 to be like I can smell that we're in striking distance of maybe.
So like a series, you want it to be a series. Give me a series to tie you or for you to blow me away.
Yeah. That's when you
we're
really
either
start
even or we're 6 out. I got you.
Yeah, 5.5. It's the Jaws theme. It's like we're lurking. We're in the water. We're coming. Yeah, that's where Toronto's at right now. I'd like to see them make another move, especially as someone that picked them to win the division. It'd be nice if they did that. The only person that picked them. See, want to give him some love. Aaron Judge came back. I feel like that got buried in a sea of other newsworthy items, because the Yankees are in last place. It's not going to be as newsworthy that Judge came back, but he did come back. He did homer, and then he was benched on Sunday. And a game, it couldn't have been a better game to be sat down because Luis Severino, my God, if there's anyone that deserves the Alek Manoah treatment, it is Luis Severino. He fucking sucks, this guy. Terrible. He is washed, rinsed, and correct me if I'm wrong, he's a free agent at the end of the year?
Things have not been great.
Get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. You are no longer a major leaguer once your contract expires at the end of the year. He has been horrendous. And I want to even say credit to Aaron Boone. Like, that game was over after the first inning. And he was like, you know what? We're getting at least 80 pitches out of you. We're not going to burn our bullpen because you suck. We don't have Judgy in the lineup today. So, yeah, go out there and wear it. We don't give a fuck. Let your ERA get to 8 for all we care. We know that you're going to be going into free agency. That doesn't matter to us. So go out there and wear it. And he did. He went out there and threw 80 pitches. I don't know. I think he probably made it to like maybe the 4th. But yeah, another. And I think, I don't remember who had the report, but I did see a report somewhere that the Yankees were sort of using this weekend series against Baltimore as some sort of barometer for whether or not to buy or sell. You need to see anything else? Like, what more do you need to see?
Think you're good?
I think you're good. Well, I think I was talking to Hubs last night, and I was asking him about the umpire's back, baby. No, I don't know if that's true. Hubs. But I did ask him, like, how does Luis Severino make his next start? And he's like, he doesn't. He can't. Like, well, where else are you going to go? Because I think Nestor has one more rehab outing, and then he comes back after that. Maybe he has a rehab outing on Wednesday, and then he's supposed to come back after that. But yeah, they go in there. They lose. It was a tough 1-0 loss. Then the Yankees put up 8 runs in the middle game and then just get their fucking doors blown off. 9-3 in the series finale. I don't know.
Yeah, the last 5 games for your boy Severino have gone like this. The team is 1-4 in those games.
How do they even win?
He's logged 21 2/3 innings, surrendered 43 hits, 27 earned runs. He's walked 9, punched out 18, he's given up 7 homers in 5 games, sporting an ERA of 11.22. His FIP is 7.06, so a shade better. The batting average for the opponents that he's faced over those 5 games, they're hitting just slightly north of 400. 410 is what they're hitting. Slugging 733. They're on base damn near half the time at 456. It's been a rough patch.
It's been a rough patch. I mean, yeah. That Nestor can't come back soon enough. And I mean, Aaron Judge didn't go on any rehab outing, right? He just came back, right? He did not have a minor league assignment? No.
Yeah. I mean,
So
do we
gonna need his days.
do we think it was rushed? Did him coming back and homering instantly silence any of those thoughts at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think it. Put it this way: the Yankees' offense has been so pathetic and dreadful without Aaron Judge that if I'm a Yankee fan, I'm sitting there saying I will take Judge once every 3 days over the alternative, no Judge. Like we know what no Judge looks like, and it's a lot of L's. We get Aaron Judge out there to homer. Fine, we'll take it. I mean, I can't remember what the record is when Aaron Judge homers in Yankee games this year, but it's pretty good. So yeah, I'm taking Judge once every 3 days if that's what it takes until he's fully healthy. Which who knows if that happens this year? We don't know.
Didn't they already say that when they benched him, he was fucking ticked off?
Yeah, I mean, you got to sometimes
he was pissed.
So,
how did that get out?
Is something about elite athletes. I can speak about this personally, but the thing about elite athletes is sometimes you have to protect them from themselves, right, Dallas?
Well, you said you were going to speak about yourself. I quit listening.
Oh, why are either of you talking about this?
Sometimes
what the fuck?
You have to protect elite athletes from themselves.
Hey.
Yes, yeah, we tend to get in our own way for sure.
We?
Yep.
Totally something we totally do. Yep. We.
Yep.
You want to hear a crazy stat about the Yankees?
Oh, go ahead, Joe. What do you got?
Guess how many hitters they have, qualified hitters, over league average in OPS plus?
2.
Just one. Gleyber Torres.
Gleyber.
And he's a 106 OPS plus. So Judge obviously isn't qualified. He's legitimately the only even decent hitter, really.
Guess you could say the workload. Guess you could say the workload for Torres has been Gleyber intensive.
Give that guy a day off.
Just keep him moving.
I don't get it.
He's doing all the work, Gerrit.
Yeah.
Gleyber Torres.
The Marlins really, really want Gleyber Torres. The scuttlebutt is that the asking price, Brian Cashman's asking price, is astronomically high for Gleyber Torres. So I wouldn't anticipate him being moved. What are the odds of the Yankees trade deadline being super disappointing?
Well, I think those are interconnected though, right? Because what do they have to sell that really gets you anything?
Nothing.
If you're not trading Gleyber Torres,
they could trade Anthony Rizzo and eat some of his contract and maybe get a nice, not even a nice, just like somewhat of a notable return, I guess.
But to Joey's point, like I was watching Sunday Night Baseball last night. I think his OPS plus was down to like 91 or something like that. Like Rizzo has been ice for like 2 months now. No, but I think like it is inevitably going to be disappointing. Easy answer, because Yankee fans who want them to buy are going to be disappointed because they're probably not going to buy, and most of the best pieces to buy have come and gone already. The Yankees fans who want them to sell and initiate some sort of retooling effort, well, what are you retooling with? What are you selling here? Because like even somebody like DJ LeMahieu, who like has been bad, but like I guess you could squint and be like, there's a league average player in there. Like, what are you getting back from him for him if you trade him? Not much. And what team are you fielding next year if you trade some of your league average type guys away? Like, there's a little bit of a Mets thing going on here. They're just a better team and have a much longer track record of success, and they have Aaron Judge, and the Mets don't have him. And they have Gerrit Cole, and the Mets don't have Gerrit Cole either. So like, but this sort of in-between place where is this team going? What is the future of this team? What is it supposed to look like next year that's going to make it better than the teams in its own division that are better right now with more young talent, more arriving talent? I don't know. It's a weird spot for them to be in. Inevitably disappointing, I think, though.
They're kind of weirdly reminding me of the Angels right now because they have the Cy Young winner and they have Aaron Judge. They have the two best players in the league. Obviously not. Angels have them. But Aaron Judge and Gerrit Cole, Cy Young, last year's MVP, and they're still terrible.
That's tough. That's a tough comparison to draw.
They're the Angels. The New York Angels. Give it up.
Give it up. Yeah, to Jay Hayes' point, that is the hard part about this deadline for the Yankees is some of the guys that they were targeting, like Blake Snell, for example. The Padres just swept. Like they're in it. Like the Padres are probably not going to sell.
Yeah.
What's left? Like the
players
Yankees
that
going to
would've-
trade for Justin Verlander?
Yeah, the players that would have made a difference for this team potentially, like that move
Cody
in
Bellinger.
hindsight. Yeah, the move in hindsight needed to be done weeks ago to avoid
Mhm.
falling to like last place in your own division, basically, or so far out of first place that that's not a path anymore. And like I just there's just not like and
That's done. They are in last.
Right, and Severino collapsing. Like I know he hasn't pitched well for the entire season, but the severity of his pitching has really the bottom has really fallen out over the last month or so, and I think that has really exacerbated their situation. Like it's just the teams that they were going to buy from are either better than them or better positioned than they are to make the playoffs, even if their rosters aren't necessarily better. It's just I just look at this offense and I'm like, most of these dudes suck. And it's like, who is replacing these people in seasons moving forward that make you like, they can always spend a certain level of money, right? But they can't outspend the league or are choosing not to outspend the league at the same rate that they used to. So you can't paper over mistakes as cleanly as the Yankees used to be able to do in that regard in free agency. And while I'm not a Yankees prospect expert, my understanding is that it's not like a farm system that's about to overflow into the major leagues. Like most of the guys who have arrived recently, like Volpe has stayed in the major leagues. I guess that's the nicest thing you can say about his rookie season. And then you've just got a lot of Kiner Falefas and Higashiokas and Harrison Bader and the remnants of Rizzo and LeMahieu's careers and stuff like that. It's just, so you have Aaron Judge and a bunch of stuff basically offensively. And doesn't seem like there's a lot in the pipeline coming through that's going to replace those guys at the level that we're used to the Yankees replacing players at.
No, but they're probably going to trade for Juan Soto, though, I bet.
But okay, say that they do that. They're better, obviously, but that doesn't solve the core problem of this team that we've been discussing, which is a lack of depth. They have star level players. Adding Soto would be great. Presumably, that would cost them more of their prospect depth that they already probably shouldn't be trading from. And like, so you stick Soto on this team and they have 3 good players instead of 2. And it's like, okay, if you sign Juan Soto, that's a totally different deal. But if you're just trading him for the final season and a half or season of his deal, then I just don't. That, and I know you're kidding. Like I know that was like just the Yankee fan.
Well, no, I literally just saw. Keith McPherson says the Yankees should go after Juan Soto.
Who is that?
He does WFAN, but he knows better than to believe the team will add anything but mid outfield options. It's like that's pretty much how it's gonna go. Like I feel like the Yankee. I don't even know that they're gonna do that. Like, they don't have any. It makes no sense to buy, and they have nothing to sell.
They're too bad to sell.
Yeah.
How does that happen, dude? How are you so bad you can't sell? And you're the Yankees. So bad you can't sell.
Glaber, like that's it. And I don't know that they value him too high.
Well, and to Gerrit's, like, listen, if CJ Cron and Randall Grichuk are being traded and things are coming back in those deals, then yes, obviously, to Gerrit's point, they can trade Rizzo. They could trade LeMahieu if they wanted to and get stuff in return. But it comes back to the point of like, okay, what does your team look like next season then? Like, who are you replacing those guys with? And maybe replacing them isn't that difficult, and I'm making things more complicated than they need to be. But it's free agency can't be. The Yankees can't be fielding 5 positions in free agency this offseason, right? Like that's just not how the game works anymore. And they're not going to do that either. And their free agent acquisition last season has barely pitched for them this year in Rodon. So it's not like that. Even going out and spending that money is not a solution necessarily.
And then every year they can't do that. Aaron Judge and Gerrit Cole get a year older and another year where they missed the playoffs. Two of the biggest stars in the game. It's a shame.
It is. This might be the year that Cole finally gets his first Cy Young award, though. This could be it. Never know.
Yeah. You hate to see Evaldi go down. He was threatening.
He was threatening. So
I think it would be appropriate.
Shane McClanahan.
I think it would be appropriate if he got a Cy Young. I think his career makes a lot more sense if he's just got that one piece of hardware, because he's been one of the 3 best pitchers in the league for 6 seasons now.
Yeah, it wouldn't make a ton of sense if at the end of this era we look back and say Robbie Ray got one, but not Gerrit Cole.
Yeah, totally.
Don't talk shit about Robbie Ray.
No, I'm just saying.
He threw the piss out of it, dude. He had
a great year. He had a great year. He won the Cy Young award, no doubt. But I'm just saying.
You shouldn't talk about injured players like that. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. It just would make sense if Gerrit Cole got one. Just one. This could be the year. Gerrit Cole, best pitcher in the league on the last place New York Yankees. Yikes. All right, guys, we're in the heat of the summer, and you guys need a pair of great shades that you don't have to baby. Knockaround Sunglasses is the go-to for the quality polarized shades that won't break the bank. Plus, they just released their first set of teams from the official MLB collection, including Red Sox and Yankees, as well as the U.S. women's soccer team sunglasses, so you can add a little something extra to your game day outfit for this summer's big games. Don't be the person that's squinting into the sun or worried about getting sand on your overpriced sunglasses. Check out knockaround.com for great-looking polarized shades starting at just $28. Use the promo code ROCKET, and that'll get you free shipping on your order. Woo! Free shipping. We love that. We love free shipping around here. Let's see. What else do we have? I think we hit on all the major topics. Some, I guess, like David Robertson to the Marlins, whatever. Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly. Joe Kelly goes back to the Dodgers. Lance Lynn and his 8 ERA, whatever that is, goes to the Dodgers. I mean, he's probably going to turn into like a 2.30 ERA guy with like a 14 strikeouts per 9. Like, would that surprise anybody?
Oh, for Lance Lynn?
Yeah.
That he just start. I mean, I love the idea that a fastball repertoire could absolutely dominate, and then a fastball repertoire could look like it's looked for Lance Lynn at times. But I don't think that there's anything that says Lance Lynn is just going to absolutely turn into a world beater.
No,
but
it's the Dodgers, and the stuff is there.
Yeah. I think just by virtue of having support around him and knowing that he's pitching in a different environment, like Lance Lynn is, in my opinion, just after getting to know the dude a little bit, is 100% like, if I'm surrounded by a bunch of like dudes who are ready to get after this and the environment is what it is, well, then he's different.
I'm actually pretty optimistic on the Lance Lynn to the Dodgers thing, because I think you said the stuff is still there. Like, I think there's stuff to, like, unlike the Syndergaard trade, there's something to work with here. Like, his strikeout rate is basically in line with what it was in 2021. His walk rate is double what it was last year. But to me, it's really the homer rate that's like, it's 5.2%. That would be the highest mark of his career by far. That feels a little bit fluky. Like, he can still miss bats. And so, like, as long as the expectations are in line, I think this combo ad is a nice get for the Dodgers.
Yeah, he kind of addressed it himself, right? Like, yeah, I don't know. Oh God, what did he say? He said, you look at some of my numbers and they're not great. I'm giving up the homer or whatever. But if you look at the strikeouts and things like that, I've still got that. Like, those numbers are still there.
I mean, like, not to make too much of a handful of starts, but like, you have to have some ability in your arm still to have a performance of 7 innings and 16 strikeouts. Like, that happened about a month and a half ago. And less than a month ago, he had a start of 7 innings, 1 hit, 0 runs, 1 walk, and 11 strikeouts against a good Toronto Blue Jays team. So, like, you just don't see any lines like that on Syndergaard's resume. And, like, I know they're kind of getting grouped into the same thing, like just these washed pitchers who are just getting a change of scenery. But to me, I would way, way rather take a chance on Lance Lynn.
Sure.
Just seeing this now from MLB Communications.
Hmm.
Last week produced the highest average attendance that MLB has seen in more than a decade. In addition, the current year-over-year growth in average attendance is the best since the game expanded to 30 clubs a quarter century ago.
Congrats to us. I think that's mostly us.
That's I would agree. I would say we probably have, I don't know. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for taking us along on this ride, Jared.
Thank you, guys. Come on. Embarrassing. Yeah, probably at least like 80% credit for that. Like, I think like the rules factor in.
I think
Shohei, Ellie De La Cruz,
BID.
baseball's dead. 80%.
I think it's a little weird they didn't like specify us in the press release.
Right. I think they probably thought it was like a legal issue that they couldn't use our logo or something.
Yeah, that's probably true. Mike Teven, go ahead. You can use it.
Yeah.
Put it out there, Mike. Do the right thing. BID.
Yeah. I love that for us. All right. Any final thoughts here today?
I know we glossed over it. I like the Robertson to the Marlins pickup. Like that in combination with the Jorge, like they just kind of revamped what their whole back end of the bullpen looks like. So you got Robertson closing, and then you got the Puck Scott setup thing, and Jorge Lopez coming in before them. I don't know if it's going to work, but Robertson's cutter. Here's a nug for you to end the pod, for me at least. Batters are hitting 132 off of Robertson's cutter this year. There have been 33 pitchers to throw at least 300 cutters. The next closest is 70 points higher at 202. So Robertson 132, next best 202. That cutter is nasty. Not that we didn't already know that, but even at his advanced age, still arguably better than it's ever been.
It's almost like being able to spend time with a veteran ball player who's really, really good at what they do could rub off on a guy. It's almost like having a veteran present in the clubhouse could make an impact.
Who did Robertson play with that had a cutter?
Is that a serious question?
No.
Was he with the Yankees when Rivera was there?
Yeah, Mariano was hanging around for sure.
Also, a report just came across that the Rangers are in on Verlander now.
Just do it. Just do it.
Oh, yes.
I don't know.
They should
I
take
think it's
Lindor and
Angels.
Alonso too, and just win with the
And
Mets
that's just-
carcass. Yeah,
And is that just to keep Houston from going to get him?
Maybe.
that's a big dick move. If you're like,
That's a huge dick
yeah,
move.
yeah, for $50 million, we're going to prevent our in-state rival from getting him because we're just going to go do it ourselves.
Yeah. The
That's
Texas
the baseball
Rangers
I
are
love.
still involved with trade talks surrounding Justin Verlander.
Oh, man. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Wow. That would be fucking strong.
Next, and then DeGrom will miss all next year probably, but then in 2025. You could have like a 95-year-old Scherzer and Verlander teaming up with a rehabbing DeGrom. That could be cool.
DeGrom could be the opener for those guys.
Yep. I see the plan.
DeGrom, Scherzer, and Verlander all on the same staff. Could you imagine?
Like, I think that's the route they need to go is DeGrom, you open. And we're going to give you 3-4 inning stints or whatever every few days and just see how many perfect innings you can log in a row. Let's just go that route. Like, fuck starts and all, like, just, you're going to get the ball. Here's 3 to 4 innings, and we'll see you in 3 days.
Well, sounds like that's happening.
Maybe
So.
4 days. Shit, maybe 7 days, the way things have gone. I don't know.
Yo, shout out to Carlos Santana, too, who has literally never been good with a team that isn't Cleveland. He keeps getting traded or signing with all of these teams, and he's so bad. And he's only good when he's with the Guardians / Indians. So.
Better than Lindor if you look at the numbers.
What's that?
Better than Lindor if you look at the numbers.
What numbers?
What
Gerrit's
numbers?
Jared's numbers. You don't remember this?
Oh yeah. I just went batting average and OPS.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, he is better than Lindor. Dallas, any final thoughts here today?
Yeah. I don't know how much you guys think about this. I think about it a lot because I was raised by two women who love baseball. It's always interesting to me that we have so many female fans, female listeners. I love every minute of it. It's great. And I actually had the opportunity to meet a couple of extremely, extremely dedicated and extremely diehard baseball is dead listeners who were kind enough to actually bring me some very heartfelt gifts. I don't have them on me right now because my bags are still at the team hotel in the city of LA. I am back at home, so I didn't travel with my bags. But I got the opportunity to meet both of these young ladies, and it was... I didn't need to fucking cry right before I went on air to call a fucking baseball game, but damn it, that's kind of what happened when I met Sharon and Anna. So shout out to those ladies. I'm not going to get into any details about the relationship or the conversations because those are private. Not to say that we won't continue to maybe share some information moving forward, but I just want to thank you ladies for making my day and taking the time to swing by and say hello. That meant a lot to me. And the fact that you guys listen and the fact that you listen as intently as you do, that really warms the heart. So Sharon, fire one up. Enjoy it, my friend. You deserve it. Anna, you're an absolute hero.
Related to that, about the listener stuff, people have been asking to bring back listener questions / submissions. So if you're open to that, we should consider that.
Should we pick a day, either Wednesday or Thursday? Because obviously, like the Monday pods are meatier. If maybe the
Thursday
Wednesday,
getaway day.
Yeah, because Thursday we're always like, it's a quick turnaround. There's not. Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah. Thursday listener question day.
Listener. We'll make it listener appreciation day.
All right, we'll do that. Listener questions on Thursday. How should we do that, Jake? Just like DM it to Baseball is Dead?
Yeah, I'll tweet out a graphic and we can just sort through the DMs.
Okay. All right. We'll do listener questions on Thursday. We used to do like voicemails for those, but that's a pain in the fucking balls. We can still do those at some point, but just for convenience sake, DM Baseball is Dead on Twitter. Or X, excuse me, X.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. See, you're going to be a part of the way. Don't do it. Don't do it.
X.
Don't do it. If you say
Elon,
it, that's what happens.
X.
I'll never. Just don't say it.
X. Send us a fucking X message. And we'll read the questions on the podcast on Thursday. If your team's in it, enjoy the trade deadline. If your team's not in it, sorry about it. Enjoy the trade deadline. And we'll be back here. Wait, Joe, do you have final thoughts?
No, just let me know what jersey you want.
Oh, yeah. No, I was looking for a Harold Baines Hall of Fame jersey. I'm using my jersey credit to give a gift to Jay. I'm going to find one. We're going to lock it down within the price range of $200. And whatever money's left over, you can give to me in Starbucks gift cards. Jake's takes?
Just this episode really made me realize how disappointed I am in the Yankees this year.
Yeah.
Just coming off an ALCS appearance and re-signing the AL MVP, just had really high hopes for them, but it looks like it's not going to pan out.
No. I mean, they definitely appeared in that ALCS. They for sure appeared. All right. We'll be back on Wednesday. Don't forget to fucking send us an X message. X. And we'll be back on Wednesday.
We gone.